All right. These are the introduction notes to multiplying radicals. First off, what we're going to do right here, we're going to go and multiply 5 times 6 because they're both underneath the square root sign. See that? I could combine them by making the square root sign. 5 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30. Okay? Now, this is going to be as simple and as low as it can go because as I go through, I can make these into prime numbers. I should probably back up a little bit. When you're trying to simplify this, you want to make sure that what's underneath the square root sign, that there is no perfect squares that's in there to make that. What I mean is, we're looking, when we went through and we would make and split up our numbers, 5 is prime. Prime means that only 1 and itself can multiply together to get that number. Examples of prime numbers. 1, because it's only 1 times 1. 2, 2 times 1. 3 is a prime number. Is 4 prime? No, because you can have 2 times 2. What about 5? Yes. What about 6? Nope. 7? 8? 9? No, because it's 3 times 3. 10? 11. Okay, we could go through and keep doing that. Now, right here, I know 5 is prime. 6 breaks up into 2 and 3. Are there any numbers that are being duplicated underneath the square root sign right here? No, there's not. So that means this is as low as simple as it can go. So, right here, if I go through, I can multiply 3 times 8. They're both underneath the square root sign. 3 times 8 is 24. Now, let's look at 24. If I went to go split this up, I could do 8 times 3. You could have done 6 and 4. It doesn't matter. I'm just choosing 8 and 3. 3 is prime. Now, 8 splits up as 2 times 4. 2 is prime. 4 is not. 4 splits up into 2 times 2. Now, what we've been doing is going and, let's see, 2. There's a 2. There's 2 more 2s. And a 3. What has to be there to be able to get out of the house? You have to have 2 of them. You have to have a partner in crime. Right there. There's 2 2s. So I'm going to pull one of the 2s out. Pull that out. These do not have partners. So I'll leave that in there. So now 2 times 3 is 6. So when I simplify it, this is 2 the square root of 6. Okay. Next ones. Here are the next ones. Let's just do one of them at a time, though. Here we go. Remember, we are on the back of that worksheet you have in front of you because these are just notes. What we're going to do first, you take the numbers that are outside the square root sign and multiply those together. 5 times 6 is 30. Put the square root sign. I'm going to do 7 times 2, which is 14. Now, let's think about that. The only numbers that multiply together to give me 14 are 7 and 2. Is 7 and 2 both prime? Yeah. 14 can't go. There's no pairs in 14. So my answer stays 30 square root of 14. Now, number 4. Multiply the numbers out front. Negative 2 times 5, negative 10. Multiply the numbers underneath the square root sign. 6 times 8, 48. Now we need to simplify this. So let's look and see, let's break it down into all the prime numbers. 48, I know, one of them I know is 4 times 12. 4 breaks up into 2 and 2. Those are prime. I'm done with that one. 12 is 2 and 6. 6 breaks up into 2 and 3. Okay, so now underneath the square root sign is 1, 2. I've got 2 of these 2's. I've got 2 more. And I've got this 3. I put check marks by it to make sure I don't miss one of them. Outside the square root sign, my -10 stays there. Now, who gets to come out and play? I've got a set of 2's. So a 2 is going to go out. Another set of 2's. The 3 has to stay inside and do the dishes. Like somebody else I know. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times -10, -40, square root of 3. That's your simplified answer. Giving some of you the time to write it down. Okay, here's the next ones. Starting here with number 5. First thing you're going to do is multiply the numbers out in front. -6 times -8, +48. Underneath the square root sign, 2 times 2 is 4. Well, what's the square root of 4? 2. So this becomes 48 times 2. Nothing's left underneath the square root sign. What's 48 times 2? So your answer is just 96. Number 6, the square root of 5 squared. Square root of 5 times the square root of 5. Well, underneath the square root sign, there's 2 5's. So they get to come outside and play, which just leaves you with the answer of 5. What you need to remember is that the square root sign and the squared, those are opposites like multiplication and division. Okay? Square root and squared are the opposites. The answer is just 5. See, because they're both under, because think about it. 5 times 5 is 25. What's the square root of 25? 5. All right. Look what's happening here. 3 the square root of 2 times 3 the square root of 2. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. Square root 2 times 2 is 4. What's the square root of 4? 2. So this becomes 9 times 2, which is 18. Number 8 tends to freak everybody out right at the beginning because it has what? Fractions. There's a couple of things that we can do on here. The way I look at it to see easier is I'm going to put it all underneath the square root sign real quick. But I'm going to have 3 on the top, 3 times 14, and 7 times 27. Now, you can, one thing you could do is, with our calculators, forget the square root sign for right now. Take 3 times 14, press enter, and get 42. So the square root, I'm trying to write with the mouse. You know, it's never good here. 42 over 7 times 27, 189. All right. I know. Practice. 42 divided by 189 Let's press math, enter, and reduce it. It reduces to 2/9. Okay, that's one way to do it. The square root, we're not done yet. 2/9. Okay, now I want to show you something though. Inside here, you can use the calculator, but inside here, I know 7 goes into 14. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. I know 3 goes into 27. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 27 divided by 3 is 9. That's another way I got the square root of 2/9. Oop, I need to make my square root sign bigger. Now here's the problem. You can't leave the radical in the bottom. But if you look at this, I can write it as the square root of 2 over the square root of 9. What is the square root of 9? It's 3. So the top stays the square root of 2, and the bottom is 3. This is your answer. That is as simple as it goes. All right. Here's another one. Again, we see the fractions. Let's go ahead. We've got a big fraction here. And we've got 5 times 1 and 3 times 12. 5 times 1 is 5. 3 times 12 is 36. Now I'm going to separate this. Square root of 5 over the square root of 36. What's the square root of 36? 6. It makes it much better when you can find your perfect square. So my answer becomes the square root of 5 over 6. That's my answers. That's my answer.